really quick, the classwork video for section 4.5. Really quick. So there are some terms that they didn't tell you in section 4.5 that you really should know. And these terms kind of build on themselves, but they all build up to the one that's called the circumcenter of a triangle. And you're going to need to know these, hence why I wrote them down for you. So I'm going to read them just in case you can't see them well. It says that the circumcenter of a triangle is where the perpendicular bisectors meet, which means it has to be the altitudes and a median, both of them, in order for it to be a circumcenter of a triangle. The incenter of a triangle is where the three angle bisectors meet. The orthocenter of a triangle is where the three altitudes meet. And the centroid of a triangle is where the medians of a triangle intersect. So a circumcenter is an orthocenter and a centroid. I throw that out in there. Does not mean that it has to be an incenter. The incenter may be different. Okay, so those are definitions. Obviously, since they weren't in your book, they're probably not going to be in any of the homework, but don't be shocked if you happen to see them on a test. So make sure you know which one is which. Make sure you write them down in your definition stuff. I would have put it in the video if I had remembered, but it didn't happen that way. So this is the classwork portion. And because the classwork happens to be a proof, and I really hated what they did in your book, we're going to call this classwork, which means you need to go ahead and pause the video now. And then once you have filled out what you think it is, I'll come in and show you my answer, and you can see if your answer tracked with my answer or not. And then I'll tell you what the homework is going to be for today. Okay? Just that simple. There's nothing new, no grand thing that I plan on going over that I'm not going to hit in this. So go ahead and pause it. And I'm ready. So they told you that WY, that's this one, is an altitude. So that means it has to meet at a 90-degree point there. Incidentally, it's on both sides, so I'm going to mark it on both of XY. And they told you that WZY is the same angle as WXY. So I'm going to go ahead and mark those there. They want us to prove that this is an angle bisector. Well, if this is an angle bisector, then that means that this angle has to equal that angle. And since that's what I have to prove, I need to work towards something that's going to tell me that. And what's going to tell me that right away is if I can prove these two triangles are congruent. So that's my plan. I'm going to try to prove the two triangles congruent, and then I'm going to say because they're congruent, coordinate parts of congruent triangles are congruent, and therefore they are the same, and that's the definition of an angle bisector. So my first statement is going to be their first statement. And my first reason is going to be given. And then I'm going to say for my second statement that angle WYX and angle WYZ are right angles. And congruent. And I went ahead and put two things in there that they were right angles, and because they're right angles, that makes them congruent. But my reasoning is going to be definition of altitude, because that's what happens when you have an altitude. So my third statement is going to be that angle WXY is congruent to angle WZY, and my reason for that is that it was given. And then I've got one angle, one side, and the side that I'm using is that one, because it has to be the same. So I'm going to say that WY is congruent to WY, and 4 is by the reflexive property. And I hope I lined them up correctly. If I did, that'll allow me to say that triangle WYX, triangle WYX is congruent to triangle WYZ. So I did line them up good. WYX, WYZ, as long as I call those angles in the right order, we're good. And that is by angle, side. And then that allows me to say that angle XWY is congruent to angle ZWY because of corresponding parts. Congruent triangles are congruent, which leads me to number 7, which is what they asked for. YW is an angle bisector of XWZ, and then my reason is definition of angle bisector. Simple enough. Now, once again, if you're not getting these right away, that's okay. Coming up with the plan is the hardest part, and sometimes it's hard to access all that information at once. But you will eventually get it. And when that happens, it'll be a wonderful day for you. Okay, so that was the classwork for today. I get that they're congruent. Let me check that out. Okay. You don't need to prove corresponding forces. They're not corollary.